Format is hybrid. A quorum is physically present at the Hart Administrative Offices, 1201 East 7th Avenue, Florida Conference Room, and the rest of the board members are participating via communication media technology. Please look at the screens of your device. An image of the flag is displayed. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Staff, please do roll call.
Committee Member Kemp? Here. Committee Member Knight?
Here.
Committee Member Overman?
Here.
Committee Chair Schisler?
Here.
Committee Member Williams?
Here.
You do have a quorum, Chair.
Thank you. Would any vendors on the line please identify themselves?
It does not appear that there's anybody else.
Thank you very much. As a reminder, attendees are allowed to observe the evaluation process, but they may not speak during the discussion. The next agenda item is public comment. Is there anyone pre-registered for public comment this morning?
No, Chair.
Thank you. This concludes the public input section of the meeting. Next is the approval of the minutes. In Section 3 of the packet, you will see minutes from the April 18th, 2022 Joint Finance and Audit and Auditor Selection Committee hybrid meeting, and the May 16, 2022 Auditor Selection Committee hybrid meeting. Is there a motion to approve both sets of minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Staff, roll call vote, please.
Committee Member Kemp?
Yes.
Committee Member Knight?
Yes.
Committee Member Overman?
Yes.
Committee Chair Schisler?
Yes.
Committee Member Williams?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is discussion item, the Auditor Selection Procurement Evaluation Meeting. The members of the Evaluation Committee are myself, Councilmember Gil Schisler, Melanie Williams, Commissioner Pat Kemp, Commissioner Kimberly Overman, Mr. Marvin Knight, and Ms. Loretta Kirk, the Hart CFO, is our subject matter expert. The members have independently evaluated and scored the proposals received based on the criteria in the solicitation. Each committee member will give their scores and comments for each firm for the qualifications of the firm for a total 20 maximum points, qualifications of the staff for 20 total maximum points, the technical work plan, 40 total maximum points, for a maximum score of 80 points. Each member of the selection committee will discuss the strengths and weaknesses of each proposal in accordance with the evaluation criteria as discussed, and after meaningful discussions, members may change their scores if they so choose. At this time, I will recognize Ms. Audrey Rees, Contract Specialist, to guide the committee through the discussion process for the first proposal.
Thank you, Chair Schiffler. Jerry Beckett is the first proposal we will review. Chair Schisler, you gave them 76 points for Section B, qualification, total of 76 points. Under Section B, qualifications of the firm, you gave them, 18 points. Would you please provide your comments?
Do you want us to read the comments?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I felt that Cherry Beckett meets the strengths that we need to the field to do an effective audit for this transit agency. They have significant experiences in the transit arena.
Thank you. You gave them 18 points under Section C for qualifications of the staff.
The staff for the assignment is well-versed in our audit needs, the excellent training programs and additional continuing education options that will benefit the heart audit.
Thank you. And under the technical work plan, you gave them 40 points.
Yes, past experience with Cherry Bekaert supports their promises and representations made in the RPF. They know where the bodies are buried within our organization, in that they know the organization well.
Thank you. Committee Member Overman, under qualifications of the firm, you gave them 20 points.
Yes, actually, I've been overall, all three categories, they got excellent scores or top scores for a variety of reasons. One, the firm itself has strong experience in the type of accounting and granting and funding and needs of a transit agency that basically the comment was strongly fits desired attributes, and that strong history with not only with HART but also within Florida transit agencies is a true benefit to the organization.
And as to the staff?
We've been very well served by Cherry Bekaert as a firm, as well as Lauren Stroke. I believe that she has significant experience, and the team that she also works with that she can bring to the table have a wide variety of not only experience, but a strong history of continuing education and broad education in order to stay on top of the rules, regulations, and requirements of an audit team in a government and transit agency-related means. And I think that will serve us quite well, which is why they got a top score.
Thank you. And their technical work plan?
I was quite impressed with their technical work plan. Cherry Bekaert's experience, obviously, with HART will facilitate a strong analysis and will allow for the auditor to provide best practices and advice along the way. They've done that in the past with their audit comments when we've had audits performed by them, but also I believe that they have the depth of staff to be able to bring back their process in a good way. They outlined exactly what their process was, and their timeline was very effective and helped us understand what to expect of the organization as a whole.
Thank you. Committee Member Williams?
Yes, I gave 18 points for the qualifications, and I noted that they were top 25 CPA firm, the number of over 1,000 plus professionals, 150 local governments, public authorities where they've had extensive background and have supported HART in the past, national firm or local firm focus, which gives us the benefit of interacting with others as well as having that local feel and provide those level of expertise from a local standpoint. The inherent knowledge, extensive knowledge of dedicated engagement team was certainly an extensive added points because their engagement team had a wealth of experience, number of years of interaction with the public transit. Moving on to the qualifications of the staff, I mean, I mentioned that, but strongly fits the desired attributes, extensive transportation experience, dedicated resources, and of course, extensive knowledge of HART's processes and procedures. And also, I thought that while they may have experience with them, they may be able to challenge some of the processes that are in place to look at them from a fresh set of eyes. Technical work plan. Detailed technical plan includes control environment and physical observation, not only testing the environment, but being able to physically observe, and then the organizational structure to prevent control of key aspects by one individual. I think that was one that stood out for me, and they evaluate the quantitative as well as the qualitative aspects of the testing prior to implementation.
Thank you. Committee Member Kemp?
I think my comments were much more limited, but I
I saw that Jerry Beckert just seemed to have substantial transit experience, which I found would be valuable for Hart.
And the qualifications of staff?
And again, a highly skilled key staff on this, so that in this area.
And 40 points for their technical plan.
I thought it was a good, strong, sufficient work plan.
Thank you. The committee members have given their scores for the comments. Would you like Ms. Kirk, your technical advisor, to provide her comments? Chair Schiffler?
Please do.
Good morning to the chair and to the committee. My comments are very similar to the comments that we've just heard. In terms of the qualifications of the firm, and both firms, are top firms, and so they both have very good qualifications. But what sets Jerry Beckert apart, in my estimation, is the experience in transit. So both firms have extensive governmental auditing experience, but Markham concentrates, based on what I've read, in cities and municipalities. The Jerry Beckert has Hart and links and other transit or transportation-related agencies, and for that, I would certainly rank Jerry higher in that category.
Thank you very much.
In terms of the qualifications of staff, certainly all firms have to have certain qualifications, have to meet the ARCPA standards, continue education. But again, Jerry Beckert, I would rank them higher because of the experience in transportation. So the resumes for Markham are impressive, but they don't have that transportation experience based on what I've read. In terms of the technical work plan, very detailed work plan in Jerry Beckert's proposal, a more general work plan in Markham's proposal, and for that I would, and the plan that Jerry Beckert submitted is certainly consistent with the needs of Hart, and for that I would rank them higher than Markham in that area also.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Reeves, did you have?
This is Markham. Chair Schiffler, you gave them 19 points, qualifications of the firm.
Yes, I felt that the firm had a strong enough internal structure and the strength to do an adequate job for this engagement overall.
Thank you. And the qualifications of the staff.
The local staff seemed to have the strength to accomplish to accomplish this task. It was difficult to say who was actually going to be working on the jobs, but based upon their overall strength, it looked like they would have been adequate.
Thank you. And their technical work plan, 35 points.
Accolade, and their offices were located in Tampa, Florida, although the other offices were in the Central Florida area, where they have one in Orlando and one in the office. From my standpoint is that, if you're close enough and you have the technology and you're able to get to where you need to get to, you'll be able to support on audit well. I noted IT risk and insurance. Robotics was a key to me based on some of the things we've talked about at board meeting, where process automation is key, eliminating manual processes, creating efficiencies and systematic reporting. And then I noted 40% specialized in public sector, and then to eliminate some of the human error. From the qualifications of staff, that would be, on-site supervisor, I did not notice that in Cherry Becker, even though they may have that, but this was specifically called out that they would have an on-site supervisor in addition to the folks that were dedicated, 13 years of local government, and other key call out for me was that they develop in-house continuing education programs for outside organizations. So I see they would develop those for HEART as they support HEART, and ensuring that they are up to speed on some of the most advanced technology as they move forward in the audit process. And then I gave a couple of extra points here to Markham, more so than I did Cherry Becker, because they were extremely detailed in their governance on upfront processing, testing, and alignment. I thought they went through a lot of detail to talk about getting alignment upfront with HEART, making sure they had an understanding of what the auditor request list would include, the type of reports that would be provided, making sure they had agreements via the secure tool access, and data request and collection procedure. I think understanding the upfront process is instrumental and key in order to get the output that's desired. So they did get a couple of extra points more so than other. Methodology and inclusive of technical, practical, and personal insight were my notes that I added for Markham.
Thank you. Committee Member Kemp for the qualifications of the firm.
Thank you. And again, they obviously have strong municipal and government agency experience, but they, again, didn't have the transit experience, the transit credentials that Cherry Becker had, so I rated them somewhat lower.
Thank you. And
In that
20
category.
points for the qualifications of staff.
Just look like highly qualified staff, strong agency. Again, the transit experience ruled for me.
And their technical work plan is,
And the technical work plan, I thought was, again, I gave them good ratings on that from what I saw the technical work plan would do as well. But again, the transit work was very significant for me between the two firms.
thank you. Chair Schiffler, would you like Ms. Kirk to give her technical advice on Markham?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Would you like Ms. Kirk, as our technical advisor, to give her opinion on Malcolm?
Yes, please, Ms. Kirk, any commentary?
I'll just repeat, because when I did my comments, I actually compared the two firms during my initial comments. But again, in terms of Markham for Section B, which was the qualifications of the firm, and I just have to note that both firms are highly qualified. You know, you just don't have a big CPA firm that's not qualified. But the emphasis on Markham, based on what I read, was on cities and municipalities and didn't have the transit experience that I would expect them to have. I would imagine that we would be the breakthrough for them for that experience, because I just didn't see it in their proposal. In terms of the qualifications of the staff, again, highly qualified, but we would look for someone that had the transit experience as an individual, you know, either in the partner or in the manager. And I didn't see their qualifications listed in their resumes. And then in terms of the technical work plan, both of them were very close, but it was not, in my estimation, as detailed as the other firms. So when I'm looking at the firms, I'm also doing a comparative analysis also. But, they had a very good work plan, but it just wasn't as detailed as I would expect. That's my comment.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now is the opportunity for any committee members to change their scores if they would like to. Would any committee members like to change their scores?
No.
Okay, very good. Okay, nobody wants to change their scores, so these scores have been finalized, so now's the time for the release of the price proposal. The responsive proposal the responsive proposal with the lowest total price proposal will be given the full weight of 20 points assigned, 20 points, and the other proposal will be given points proportionally in relation to the lowest price. The price formula is used as part of the evaluation process to determine the highest ranked proposal. Ms. Reeves, please present the price proposal.
Yes, sir, thank you. Markham's price is for a 5-year contract, $269,375. Cherry Beckett's price for the 5-year contract is $407,330. The final points, Markham has 89.75 points, and Cherry Beckert has 89.73 points.
Yes, Ms. Williams, you have your,
I didn't get to capture the cost of the 5-year contract for Markham. Would you mind repeating that, please?
Yes, ma'am. $269,375,000.
Thank you. And the total points, may I, Chair, would you please repeat that?
the total points again?
Markham has 89.75 points total with technical and the price. Cherry Beckert has a total points with the technical and price of 89.73 points.
Okay. Commissioner, Director Knight, or Committee Member Knight?
Yes, want to make sure. And both was at 5 years with those amounts, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question?
Pardon me?
Can I ask a question?
Please do. Yes,
Okay.
Ms. Kirk.
Just so I understand, in terms of the price, it was stated that the top firm or the lowest price gets the top and the other one gets in proportion? So what were the points given per price for each firm?
Markham received 20 points. Cherry Beckert received 13.23.
Okay, and what was the estimate for what was the ICE, or what was the estimate on the proposal?
I don't have that.
Okay. I asked that question, Mr. Chair, only because I want to make sure that, because 200 divided by 5 is $50,000 a year.
Yeah,
I'm
that's,
sure we're paying more than that currently, and I just want to look at the price for reasonableness.
there's a big discrepancy between I don't know if it's an appropriate discussion for now, but to me, that's a big difference, a big differential. And I'm wondering,
Well, if we're rating and making a decision, I think it is appropriate to ask the question.
okay, I believe that that's an incredibly large, if there had been a $10,000 or $15,000 differential, it would have been a little more reasonable. But this is, I'm, without doing the math, this is quite a big number, quite a big difference. And I'm not sure that I understand it. What,
I have a question.
please, you're recognized.
Thank you. That section of the auditor services, I did not have that section. So in order to really understand the scoring, that is obviously quite a bit different. We got a very high score for Markham because of the low price, and we got a significantly lower score from Cherry Becker because of the higher price. But what I am not seeing, because we did not see the detail on what it was, as how those fees are calculated, what services are being provided, the differences in the two contracts, and the detail in the work order, is not being financially reviewed or considered by the committee. What we're doing here is changing the weighting of the rating based on price without the detail on how that price is determined in terms of the level of service. We have looked at, as we've done in our scoring, the qualifications and the work plan, but we haven't considered how that priced out in the price comparison. So while, if we just went with the totals we're seeing here, it would appear as though Markham would be our best choice. But based on what we've had and the way we've scored the proposals, that's different. And so, I would like to stay with the qualifications of the type of professionals that we need for an auditor as being an overruling decision here. But when we just look at price, given a score that's been offered by staff, it weights it in a different direction. And I'm, at this time, sometimes money's well spent, a penny wise, pound short. I don't know which is the case because I have not seen the comparison of the actual breakdown on the services that are being proposed by each of the firms.
Thank you, Ms. Overman. Julie, your hand is raised. Ms. Mandel?
Yes, I'm not typically get involved in the procurement process for HART as general counsel. That being said, I think Ms. Overman did ask some good questions, and there does seem to be a significant discrepancy in price. Is there a way that staff can go back and seek additional information as it relates to price only?
I see some heads nodding. Would you care to elaborate?
Wanting no or yes?
Yeah, yes, there's a way, looks like there's a way we can do that.
That might be a fair way to review this item so that we can ensure that, one, we're measuring everything correctly against each other, that the price points for Markham versus the price point for Cherry Beckford are being measured on the same items being provided. And additionally, whatever other opportunities we can take in terms of price through the process that we have through our procurement process, I would suggest that might be a good approach.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Good morning. This is Kathy Zickafus, Director of Procurement, for the record. It would be appropriate that, especially with the disparity in the two pricing, that we can go back to the offerors and get clarification on the pricing. We can ask any questions that we want to, any breakdowns that we want to, so that you have all the information that you need.
Okay. How does this, Ms. Kirk, what does this do to our timeline?
Oh, it doesn't do anything. We need to make the next selection. But I do want to mention that, and I want to ask the question, does Markham's proposal include the NTD agreed upon procedures? Because they may not even be familiar with that, because that's a transit item that Cherry Becker knows about, and I'm sure they priced it in their price. And so want to know if this price is a base price, and then they charge additional for our National Transit Database agreed upon procedures. That has to be part of this. And so I just want to look at that. And then what is our current contract? What are we paying annually for audit services right now? Because $50,000 seems to be very low for audit service. What are we paying right now?
And I'm sorry, I don't have that.
Okay, I'd ask us, you have to look at
Right.
the market and what would be expected
Okay.
to pay for a good audit.
All right, Mr. Knight, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. It appears with so many unknown and uncertain that if there was a way that we could, like get more information and not make that, is it that critical that we make this decision right now? Or can we, some of the question that's been asked, can we get more information on that?
Okay, now this has been my concern also, the number's just too far apart. Okay, do we need to have a motion to take this back to you guys for further clarification? Do we need to take it back and then bring back and then us meet again in person to finalize it? What needs to happen as the next step, if anybody has any?
I can make a motion to ask that two things. One, we ask specifically for the scope of fees and services being provided based on their work plan. And then two, that the committee members be able to actually see that data just as we have when it comes to the other three areas of qualifications, so that we can have a productive comparison to provide you with some guidance. Because right now, we don't have that. So I'll make that motion that we bring that back to the committee for consideration before it's presented to the board for approval.
And I'll second.
We have motion to second. Any other comment? Okay, we have 2 seconds. Okay. Ms. Mandel, is that appropriate at this point to proceed in that manner?
It is appropriate it's appropriate for you to make that motion and proceed in that manner unless staff has any questions or concerns about what you are saying, and they need to make sure that we're doing everything in line with our procurement manual. So if they are comfortable with that action moving forward and that it's compliant with the procurement manual, then it's appropriate to proceed forward in this way.
I will interpret the nodding of heads to be in agreement with that process. Okay.
Well, with that comment, I'd like to suggest that, we've all signed, non-disclosure agreements and those kinds of things. So we're in conflict of interest, so that you have the appropriate paperwork to be able to reveal the information necessary for us to make a good fiduciarily related recommendation to the board as a whole.
My comment to that point would be that, yes, we had everything, we had all the information we needed to make the value judgments on the other three areas. We didn't have that on the price, so this is, I think it's just continuation of our proper due diligence. Ms. Kemp, yes.
And not exactly for this motion, but for future discussion or consideration, or maybe an answer of some sort. Is this the way that we've always procured our auditing services with this procedure going this way? Because it feels kind of blindsided. And I'm just wondering if maybe the procedure itself, just in the future, we need to look at it, if this is a standardized way of doing it. I'm just wondering if you could comment on that.
Yes, I can. First, I'll say that, yes, this is a way that we've done it in the past, but I can also tell you that, that we're looking at other options, because this does happen to where it flip-flops and the highest technical doesn't, the end result is not with the highest technical being topped. So it's definitely something that we're looking at other ways to evaluate the pricing.
I have been on boards before where we did directly do something like this on a contract, an auditing, lobbying, and the actual pricing was included as we reviewed it as well. And, you know, we had that information as well. So it seems to me that the procedure is not serving us necessarily well as what we're hearing here. And you know, I'd like to see if we could review that in the future after we obviously have to deal with this now, but I'm wondering about really looking at that.
Thank you. Committee Member Knight?
Yes, and thanks for the comments, because I had some comments, and that's why I was trying to get more information. As long as I've been on the board, and I don't recall going through the process like we're going through now. So you say we did or whatever, I'd like to know when or did someone else do what we're doing now? Thank you.
Okay. All right. Did you anything?
I can offer some guidance to answer Mr. Knight's question. Last year, I believe it was, I had the opportunity to serve on the procurement committee for the state and federal legislative services. And we used Bonfire, we went through the same issues, and we saw basically the same 3 points. But however, it appears as though in reviewing those, that there was an opportunity to have a better understanding of the financial, proposal that was also being made. It wasn't necessarily in the submission documents, but they were included as part of the workload and hours and things along those lines. So it was easier to compare the scope of work that was being presented, and so there was less question about the discrepancy in the price. So if in the responses we don't get that information, then whatever was presented in the way of a fee comparison to the staff who has only seen that information, maybe we need to just make sure that we see the whole proposal. But we haven't done much in the way of a board of actually being as part of the selection committee or recommendation committee on procurement in the past that I'm aware of. So I'll stop there.
Thank you. Ms. Williams, you're recognized.
Yes, I wanted to thank Audrey Reeves. I too had some concern on how to make this happen, and she took time to walk through the steps for me and make sure I understood how to go through it and do the comparison and so forth. So the takeaway was this was the first time I had experienced this process, and understand more about the process up front is probably a takeaway. And then the other aspect is the fact that you were available to walk me through it was appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. Danielle, would you do roll call vote, please?
Committee Member Kemp.
Yes.
Committee Member Knight.
Yes.
Committee Member Overman.
Yes.
Committee Chair Schisler.
Yes.
Committee Member Williams.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much. So now I assume then that Ms. Secretary should be able to go back and Ms. Ruiz go back to both parties. I would imagine you have to do it unilaterally or equilateral and get clarification. Any idea how long that might take?
I think the best process is to make sure that we understand all the clarifications that we need to get from each of the offerors, and we will work with you to make sure that we are able to list all of those so that we can get clarification on the pricing and anything else that we may need. On our schedule too, I will say that our schedule allow for this coming back to the June 20th Finance and Audit Committee, and then the board on the 7/18. When it goes to the board, as we said, when we started the process, that it's the committee's responsibility to rank and recommend to the board in order of preference the offerors.
Okay.
So that's what we'll do on the July 18th.
Okay, so, but in the interim, in order for us to do that, we still need to come back and we have to meet in person again to discuss the your findings and results, and then do a formal motion for the full board then, correct? Ms. Kirk, yes.
To the chair and to the committee, so I'm understanding that we have to come back as the finance committee on the 20th of June, so we could schedule this meeting again on the 20th of June and still be in time for an
Okay.
July action.
Okay. I was concerned we had to do this, something between now and then, okay, which would be fine, but I mean, if we can, okay, so you'll come back to us, are we going to get information in the interim, or will it be presented to us again at one time in June?
No, you'll have it, when we send it out for clarification, and we receive it back, we'll provide it to all the
Okay,
committee
good.
members.
Okay, that'll
So
give us a
you'll
chance to
have
look at
prior
it.
to.
Okay, very good, thank you very much. Any new business, any old business? We stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone, thank you, staff.
Thank you, everyone.